Hello guys and girls, and welcome back to another Thaumcraft 4.2 tutorial. So today we're going to be getting into the really fun stuff, or start getting towards the fun stuff. Not an artifice yet, not an infusion stuff, but alchemy. I absolutely love alchemy in Thaumcraft. It's one of my favourite things to do. But we're going to break it down for you guys today. So we're going to cover all of the distillation, essentially distillation stuff, go over watered jars and things like that. Cover Nitor and some of the basic things that you want to do when you start getting into alchemy. So we got a little bit of things set up here. The very first thing that I recommend is making sure you get yourselves some goggles of revealing. If you can't remember how to make these things, very simple things. 2 thermometers, 4 leather and 2 gold, like so. That's going to make you your goggles, and it takes 5 of all the aspects, 3 of auto and Pediccio. So once you got yourselves your goggles revealing, these are going to come in very handy, and you'll see why a little bit later on. So the first thing you probably want to make after your goggles, of course, is a crucible. Crucible is a very easy thing to make. All you have to do is make yourself a cauldron, a standard vanilla recipe like so, and then place it anywhere in the world. Once you got your cauldron placed anywhere in the world, just right click it with a wand and it will become yourself a crucible. So this is where you're going to do most of your alchemy stuff. You're going to smelt, you're basically going to boil things down. You're going to draw the essentia out of them into a gaseous form, and then, or a liquefied form, mix together, and then throw other things in and make other things and all that fancy stuff. But like any cauldron or crucible or cooking anything up, you've got to heat this up. So there's 2 ways you can go about this. And this is the way you have to go in the beginning, and then I'll show you the safer way of doing it afterwards. So you need to have yourself something underneath flammable. You can have netherrack, you can place a coal block down there if you really want to. But netherrack is recommended for the beginning. So all you have to do is light yourself your fire underneath. Use a flint and steel, or if you're using forbidden magic, you can use your wand. Very fantastic little add-on mod there. Absolutely love it. Not going to be covering it in the Thaumcraft 4.2 tutorial, but I will be doing a spotlight on it at some point, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. So once you got yourself your fire burning, you just want to literally place that over there like so. Like that, just pretend we moved that over there. And then you need to fill this thing with water. As you can see over here, I've got some water in it and it's bubbling. My favourite way to do this is with a Thaumic Tinkerer add-on. No, Thaumic Exploration add-on, and it's with this Everfull urn. You can use yourself a bucket, of course. Any standard bucket will do. As you can see there, go like that. Works absolutely fine. That thing will start bubbling up. Like I said, my favourite one is this. There you go. It starts bubbling up, and that's ready to start accepting things. Everfull urn though, look how cool that is. If you haven't played with the Thaumic Exploration add-on, go and try it out because it's freaking so cool. Look at the particle effect, fills things up automatically for you. Little bit slow, but that's the price you pay for awesomeness. Alright, so the 2 things we're going to be covering are going to be 2 of your very basic alchemy things that you start off with. So we've got Nitor, which is basically can be used as a light source, and this is the thing you can use to heat the crucible. Really cool thing. But if you have a look here, we got them as light sources. They look really cool, really mystical. They just sort of hang there in midair. They're not really too intrusive, and they just sort of chill out and look. They just look awesome. Let's just face it. So to make these things, you're gonna need, let's have a look in the book. You're gonna need 3 Ignis, 3 Lux, and 3 Potentia. So the best way to do this, I reckon, is you're going to have to do these in multiples of 2. So if you put coal in, or we chuck coal down actually, let's have a look here. Chuck down coal. You can see coal has 2 Ignis, 2 Potentia in it. So if we come over here, if we place that in there, that's going to put 2 coal and 2 Ignis in there. And then the torches themselves, they have 1 Lux per. So the way I like to do this is do it in multiples of 3. So I need to get a multiple of 3 with each of the items to be able to do this without any bad effects whatsoever. So I'll put in 3 coal. And as you can see, this is where the goggles are revealing come in. That's going to give us 6 of each. Cool. And then we're going to put in 6 torches. And then 2 glowstone dust. And that is going to give us 2 of that. We had none left over in there whatsoever. It is literally a perfect recipe. That is 100% the best way to go about getting night ore. And then what you can do now is you can pull that out, get rid of that altogether. That will stop bubbling in a sec. As you can see, it's no longer bubbling. Take your night ore, place down your night ore, get rid of that grass, and then you'll see it starts bubbling again. So this thing isn't going to catch fire to anything. We can go and place it over here next to all of this stuff. It's not going to set it on fire whatsoever, so it's much safer if you have yourself a wooden house and you want to do a little bit of alchemy inside of it. Cool. So the next part we want to move on to is Alimentum, I think it is. Yeah, Alimentum. So this can be used as a fuel source. You can also use it for explosions. Really, really cool. I'll show you that in a minute. But if you have a look here, we're going to need 3 ignis, 3 potentia, a piece of coal in there with 3 pedetia as well. So to get this, we're going to have a little bit left over on this. I'm going to show you, this allows me to show you what happens when you have leftover stuff in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our 3 coal in there again. That's going to give us 6 and 6. We're then going to put 6 cobblestone in. There we go, and then put in 2 pieces of coal. So that's going to give us 2 alimentum, but we've got terra left over in there. We don't want terra left over in there, so what do? Shift right click with your wand, it empties it all out for you. This thing is going to refill it for me, like so. Beautiful little piece of equipment there. And that is going to stop any instabilities happening, any flux goo, flux gas, any of that stuff is going to stop all of that. So this can be used as a fuel source, as you'll see later on when we get into this. But it can also be used to create explosions. This is probably one of my favorite parts about this, but watch this. Boom. Boom. Really, really fun to play with that. It's a little bit expensive just to go around blowing things up, but if you're ever in the mood for it, that is the way to do it with Thaumcraft. Really, really cool stuff. So now you got yourselves a basic heat source for your Crucible and a light source and a decent bit of fuel. Also, just to let you know, this does quadruple whatever you put in it. So you put in 2 pieces of coal, which would normally last you a burn time of 3200. You'll get 12,800 burn time out of it. So it's really, really useful. Obviously, we threw in 5 coal there. And we got 8 coal worth back. So it's not too bad. And we only lost like 6 pieces of cobblestone as well. And cobblestone is infinite. So this is a really, really good practical way to increase your fuel source using that. So, right, moving on, we're going to get into the fun stuff. This is going to be essentially a distillation. And we're going to show you how to break down items into down into their essentially liquid form. So, the first thing you need is a alchemical furnace. This is done pretty simply. You're going to need yourself a spare crucible. Also, when you break these in the world, they stay crucibles. They won't revert back to cauldrons, so don't worry. You place a crucible at the top, furnace in the middle, and arcane stone blocks around the outside. They're really easy to make. It's just a shard with smooth stone around it. It will give you 9 of these things here. Once you got yourself your alchemical furnace, you can place this down anywhere in the world. This takes fuel. This takes the item you want to break down. And then it has an internal buffer on it as well for storing some backup essentia if your alembics start filling themselves up. So moving on to the alembics, this is basically going to store your broken down essentia and allow you to transport it out and pull it out and whatever means you want to do on there. So to get these things, first thing you're going to have to make is a vis filter. So this is pretty easy to make. All it takes is silverwood planks with 2 gold ingots either side of it, and a little bit of ignite, a little bit of this. Same with this, a little bit of this. Nothing too crazy. Once you get yourself some of them, come on over here, grab yourself a bit of iron. This gets quite pricey, but you're only going to need about 5 of these, so it's not too bad at all. 25 iron, 5 gold ingots, and 5 buckets with 5 vis filters. Also, this recipe, just to let you know, gives you 2 vis filters per, so it's real cheap to get into. Going to take a little bit of this, again, not too bad. By the way, these are all 10% average costs because I'm using a creative wand. So once you got yourself a couple of them, these basically stack vertically on top of your furnace, and they all link together like so. You can't stack them to the side, so you can't go like that. This is just a visual sort of thing. So if you wanted to have an array of these, like so, you could do, and it just links them all together and looks a lot nicer, but they don't physically link together. so you can't just run them across. Trust me, I've tried, because that's how I wanted to set mine up. But let's come on over to here. So let's grab some coal, because we know what coal has in it, and it saves me explaining anything else. So this has ignis and ignis, and that has completely slipped my mind. I know what I'm talking about. Potentia, ignis and potentia, 2 of each in it. So if we burn down a stack of 64, we should get 128 out of it. And as you can see, it's going into the alembics above it. Each alembic holds 32 essentia. And then once they get full, it'll store in the internal buffer. Once the internal buffer is full, it will stop burning things down. So how do you get this stuff out of here? There's several different ways of doing this. We're just going to cover the basic vanilla ones though, and these are 3 different ways here. So we've got ourselves some glass vials made like your normal glass bottles in Minecraft, with a piece of clay on top. And if you take that one there, come over here, go like that, you can see you're going to get yourself 8 ignis in that. So that's pretty cool stuff. And then they only hold 8 per piece though, so you do get 8 off of them, which will hold your whole 64. But there is a better way to store these, and these are warded jars. So you have to make these an arcane workbench. It's going to take 7 glass panes and an oak wood slab, along with one aqua per jar. So once you got yourself your jar, you can come over here, and you can actually use this to take it out as well. And just a quick side note as well, you can't take out less than 8 with the vials, whereas these you can do. If you have a look, that's going to take out 11, take out 2, take out 1, 2. So you can do it like that, which is a lot better. But you don't want to stand here manually clicking all the time. So let's place our jars down. And we're going to show you a way that you can just fill these jars up without ever having to be near them ever. Which is pretty cool in my opinion. So let's just place some more of these down here. And we're going to cover some of the essentia piping. So to make the essentia tubes, it's going to be a quicksilver drop, a gold nugget, 2 iron ingots, and a piece of glass. To make the quicksilver drops, a piece of quicksilver in any crafting thing gives you the drops, just like you would get your nuggets. And that's going to make you 8 essentia tubes. Has to be in an arcane workbench again, 5 aqua and 5 auto. So cool. So let's grab a couple of them. So what we can do with these, pipe off of the alembics into other things. As you can see, we're trying to pipe potentia into ignis. That's not going to happen. You can't mix and match on these things. If we pipe this way, however, you'll see it's going to start pulling out and filling this thing up. We can also pipe it into the front, I do believe. So once that one there is full, it's going to start making its way this way. That's not full up yet. So let's just go up there. And as you can see, we can stack these up and it's going to cross over. Now you can see it's coming into this one. It's basically going to flow that way all the way down there. When that's full up, it's going to back up and start coming into this one and any others we put out here. We can go like this as well. And it will only pipe one type of fluid at once. So if we were to put another thing over here with ignis in it while it's still trying to pipe potentia, that wouldn't work. As you can see, we've just moved a load of potentia over as well. Now it's filling up from there. So that's a really cool way to do it. So, moving on, I just want to show you the last thing, and then we're going to save this for another episode. These are essentia valves. These are really cool. Basically, you just take your essentia pipe with a lever on it, and that's essentially what it is. So, if you knock this out here, let's get rid of that and just grab another one of these. And we're going to quickly place this here, and then we'll place another jar down there. Cool. Whoop. Close you up. See, right, that's how that works. I should have closed it before, but as you can see, we've got 1 ignis in there now. It wants to pour more because there's 24 up in there, but we won't let it because we've just closed the valve on it. We can open the valve like so, start pouring in again, close the valve again. So you can actually have quite a good setup of this. So if you had an empty jar and you didn't want anything going in it, or for some reason you wanted to back it up into there and you wanted to leave it with 8, say you're trying to get it out so there was only 8 left in there, so you can take it out with a file, you can do that. So it's really versatile what you can do with these. There's loads more you can do later on down the line, but we're going to leave that for advanced stuff later on. So that is going to be it for today's episode. Covered the basics of alchemy, watered jars, distillation, and some of the tubing, as well as some of your basic alchemical creations. So if you guys have any questions on it at all, leave them down in the comments below. I'll do my best to help you guys out as always. But yeah, that is going to be it. So like the video if you liked it, and if you found it helpful, subscribe if you want to see more tutorials. Definitely subscribe if you want to see the advanced alchemical side of things. That video should be up by tomorrow. And have yourselves a very fantastic day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.